Good morning, everybody. I'm going to talk to you about the water use in pulp and paper industries. Specifically, I'm going to show you what happened with the water, that is the water that industries use, but it's contaminated, so they can use it again. So, I'm going to begin with paper. The paper is one of the most important and thing that we use every day. You can use it anywhere, anytime. So basically, it's important in our life, but maybe some of you don't know what happened in the process of create this element. So I'm going to explain that. Well, the industry of the pulp and paper begins at the other industry with the Industrial Revolution and the World War II. That was the reason because the industry can development. So the Industrial Revolution give us the tools and the elements to produce, to work in an easy way, and to get the elements or our products in a short time. So in the process that the industries take in order to produce these elements, some of them use water, maybe to clean the machinery, maybe to clean the facilities, or maybe as a raw material that is used to, well, basically to help them in this process to get the elements. So, basically, what happened with this wastewater that industries produce? So they have two options. Actually, they have two options. The first is discharge this wastewater into natural water courses. What happened with them, with this? Well, basically, if you know, some of industries maybe are near to a water course. So we have some industries that is upstream of the water course, and other industries that are downstream in the water course. So the industries that are upstream in the water course will contaminate the water. So the water contaminated, it's going to the industries that are in the downstream, and they have to use it. So what they can do? Well, basically they are going to use treatment, ecological treatment to clean this water and use it. But they have to invert in this treatment. So basically, they have to take this money of one place, and the place at the final is the consumer. The consumer is at the end who pay this treatment, because basically the industry can increase the price of their products, so they can support this process in order to clean the water that they are going to use. The second option is to discharge into natural water bodies. So basically, it will impact in negative way the natural water bodies, because the contamination of these sites are going to increase. So the plants and the animals that live in this site basically are going to death because the contamination is up. So that's the reason why the government are strict with the laws and the policies that ask for the industry to try to reduce the consumption of the water. Well, I'm going to explain you a little about the consequence of these discharges in, basically the water source and the natural body waters. The first is basically that the available water sources are going to basically delete or aren't able to use it because the contamination of the system is too high. Basically, the industry doesn't take this source as a way to take the water. So basically, these water sources aren't contained in the options of the industry to take the water in this place. The second is that the natural systems have a natural purification capacities. So they can support a little quantity of contamination. But if all industry are discharged this wastewater in the source, basically this doesn't import that the purification capacity can support this contamination, because at the end all the systems are going to be contaminated, so the environment can't basically purify the water. The third is the dissolved oxygen. So the contamination have, as you know, some particles and chemical elements that could react with the ocean. So basically, if in the system we don't have oxygen, well, again, the plants and the animals can't live in this place. So, what are the important factors when the industry wants to reduce this wastewater? The first is the waste volume. Basically depend of how much water are you going to consume. You can apply some strategy or other. Second is the concentration, that is basically the quantity of chemical elements that are present in the water. So if the concentration is high, you must use potential strategy in order to clean or to treat this water to reduce them. And we have then the characteristics in general of the water. And these factors, as you see, depend and give you an idea what is the base available treatment technology that you have to use to clean the water and then reduce it. However, you have to have in mind what are the costs of the operation to apply this treatment, and what is the cost to maintain this treatment, and at the end, what are the raw water that you have near to your industry. So this is a list of the main source of pollution. In the right side, we have the industry that impact in a negative way with high levels the contamination of the systems, and in the left side, we have the industries that their levels of pollution are very low. So we are going to specify in the pulp and paper industry. Well, what is the pulp and paper industry? But it's defined as the group of companies, of industries that take the wood and they process it in order to produce paper. So they have a lot of processes that we can see in this slide. So we have how much water they spend in each process, and in this table we have how much water we consume per day. So basically we can compare how much water the pulp and paper industry are wasting, and basically that could affect our daily living. Because, for example, in the mechanical pulping, they waste 5 meter cubics per hour, and if we see, we can consume 6 to 8 liters of water in order to cook. So basically they can waste the water that we use to cook per hour. So it's important to take in mind. What is the solution? Well, basically the experts says that the effective solution to removing those pollutants, that are the particles that the industry don't want in the water in order to reduce it, is the membrane treatment system. So I want to explain you a little what is. Well, basically we have the image, and depending on the holes in the membrane, you can retain the particles. So in the way that you have the holes show so little, you can retain more particles that if the holes are too big. So basically this image shows you that most of the particles are retained in the first part of the system, and at the end we can retain particles that the ions of the elements. So why the industry can use this strategy and this system? Well, basically this is an economical solution because they just have to create and add this process of treatment. So basically they can comply the influence standard. The second is that today the trends of the industry is to be green. So basically if you have a little process of treatment in your industry, you could have a good image of your company. Third, you know that as you see, the membrane technique isn't, or the use of the energy is too low, so basically it's not necessary to, and that's all.
Thank you. Any questions for David?
Why it is not it is not being applied now?
Some industry can apply it, as I talked in the beginning of the presentation. The technique that you can use depends basically of the process that you have and what is the pollutants, the particles that are present in the water later than you use it. So basically this kind of technique, you can use it in pulp and paper industry because, well, basically they use the water, for example, to clean the wood. So they, at the end, don't want some particles of the wood in the water, so they can use a membrane to retain these particles. But for example, industries like power plants maybe use the water in order to move, I don't know, like the turbines. So basically the friction of the water with the turbine are going to increase the temperature of the water. So in this case we have to use another technique to basically decrease the temperature of the water, and then we can extract maybe the ions or the particles that the water could take in this way of friction with the turbines.
Okay, thanks. Ciao. Ciao.